Oh, hi, Gary. Welcome to the Blood Guts and Papercuts podcast. This is the podcast where Sean O'Connor and Shannon Bushman sit down with some of horror's most creative people. We ask them to come on and to talk about their latest project, whether it be a book, a movie, a screenplay, their latest role, and we get into it and we let them talk about the experience, what it means to them, how it came to be, and how everybody could get their little peepers on it. What we've also asked them to do is suggest the perfect watch along, because you know we love movies here at Blood Guts and Papercuts. So they suggest a watch along that goes along perfectly with it. We unpack that and we get into it. It could be good, it could be bad. We're going to find out in real time, just like you. So sit back, enjoy yourselves. This is the Blood, Guts, and Papercuts podcast. Oh, and boy, oh boy, do we have exciting times ahead. We have got Nicole Wolverton in house. She is now third chair of the podcast.
I'll just show up to all your interviews.
Look, Nicole, this is not a lie. Shannon and I will be, we'll do an episode, and then we have like these little team meetings afterwards, and we're just like, okay, what do we have coming up? Oh, we're doing this movie and this movie. And then invariably, every other podcast, we're like, is it time to reach out to Nicole? We got to get Nicole back on. Is it time to reach out to her?
There's always yes.
Well, that's what we love about you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you always bring the heat. I mean, the first movie we did was Slacks. So, I mean, I think that set the bar for our relationship.
It can only go up from there.
I hope that the listeners won't feel disappointed, because we brought the crazy with Slacks. Today's movie is much more serious. We're definitely shifting down in craziness, but we're definitely shifting up in spook factor. And I think, not to put the boots to Slacks, but this movie, which by the way is Stir of Echoes, starring Kevin Bacon, directed by, and please, you two, correct me if I'm wrong, is it David Koepp?
David Koepp, yes.
Nicole, you and I were both like, ish. I
don't know.
Yeah.
Incredible screenwriter, lover of all things Richard Matheson, acquires Stir of Echoes, which is kind of like which I love in and of itself, because Stir of Echoes is kind of like a quiet Richard Matheson, Mm-hmm. And boy, oh boy, did this movie get pounced on by The Sixth Sense, which we'll talk about later. But what a great little film. At the end, it's 99, which, there are whole podcasts about 99, but it came at the end of 99 and it got a tidal wave of The Mummy, The Sixth Sense, and, oh my gosh, what was the third one that just pounced on it? Oh, The Blair Witch.
I don't know, but it was robbed.
It was
robbed.
Yeah.
So Nicole recommended the movie so we can give it justice, so we can dig in our basements and unearth those bones and give it the proper burial that it needs. All right, Nicole, you know what we do. So, but our first question is always, why'd you pick this movie? Because we let you have carte blanche, and you ended up on the I was going to say The Sixth Sense, on Stir of Echo.
We might make that mistake a few times this episode, so apologies in advance, sinners.
All right. I'm going to tell you.
All right.
This film was ahead of its time, and let me tell you why. If you watch it right now, it is the perfect film for the times. The whole issue, and I guess I'm going to spoil the shit out of it, but...
spoilers.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
The whole issue with the neighbor kids luring this girl into the house for a rape. And then by the end of the film, the one kid's dad still does not consider her worthy of being upset for her. Like, he's upset that, his little friends are going to kill Kevin Bacon and his wife. But he still, at the end of the film, doesn't give personhood to this girl that his son killed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in his words, he was just like, well, what were we supposed to do? Ruin my son's life? I'm like,
Yes.
well, your son did that himself the second he touched her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ruin his life. Yes.
Yeah. So the movie pisses me off to no end, and yet it's so good. And it also does this interesting thing with point of view, sort of switching between the male gaze and the female gaze.
Mm-hmm.
But also, and this is my favorite part about it, and so the whole issue is that Kevin Bacon is this, blue collar dude who's happily living, well, not maybe happily living his life, but he wants more for himself. He expects more. His life was supposed to be so different. And he's basically made woke by an elite college educated woman.
Yeah, and he fights against it tooth and nail. He basically has to be hypnotized into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite part of the film.
It was, and okay. So Shannon, do you want to do the hard yards in just like the summary?
Yeah. So it's a pretty simple summary, honestly. So a man who, in this case, is Kevin Bacon, has visions of a missing neighborhood girl after he is convinced to go under hypnosis. So basically, after he experiences this hypnosis sequence by his sister-in-law, now all of a sudden, like she basically reveals to him that she leaves him to have an open mind. So now he's more open, and now he's seeing things that he never saw before. And now he's susceptible to this very desperate spirit who is trying to tell her story and literally trying to be what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not uncovered, but yes, yeah, like something like uncovered
And avenged.
And avenged for sure, absolutely. So and then he just goes from there, because like everyone thinks he's going a little bit crazy, but there is definitely something that happened, that was pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah. Which I've just
before
spoiled.
they moved into that house. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Couple of ridiculous things that I have to talk about before we get into it. I was obsessed with what are they paying for rent? That was a beautiful apartment. And I was because the guy next door is the landlord, and I was just the Queen's kid in me was just obsessed with what do those apartments go for? Oh my gosh. Look at that beautiful woodwork. Look at those wood floors and the beams. Anyway, so yeah.
That Kevin Bacon destroys later.
Yeah. I have a story about this house. So I have a friend who's in my local HWA chapter, Horror Writers Association chapter, who helped scout the locations for this film.
Really?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Or you're not going to drop Philip Fracassi on us, are you?
No.
Is that who it was? Okay, because I know Philip did location scouting as well in his career. Okay.
Yeah, it was somebody else. She's in my HWA chapter. She used to live in Chicago, and that's part of her background.
Well, she did a phenomenal job because I'm obsessed with the friggin' location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was supposed to be Chicago, right? Like it was.
Oh, no, it is Chicago. Yeah.
It is Chicago, yes. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Shannon, in the first 15 minutes of the movie, when they go over to the house party and they're like, you gotta love Chicago.
Yeah.
I can't do a Chicago accent. Apologies all over the place, sinners. I can't do it. And you know who else can't do a Chicago accent? Kevin Bacon. It's my only gripe of the film. Film. I think what happened was Kevin Dunn, who plays Frank, who's a phenomenal actor. Loved me some Kevin Dunn. He's from Chicago. And I think Kevin Bacon, he made a choice. Ileana Douglas did not make a choice. Catherine Irby did not make a choice. And it feels better, but it didn't take me out of the film. But I was just like,
Kev. Here's the thing, though. Kevin Bacon's a Philly guy. So I think he was probably trying to base the accent on a South Philly accent, which isn't really all that different, and yet is.
Well, because I'm trying to remember, like, did he actually mention that he grew up there?
Yeah.
He said that he grew up in an adjacent neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I felt like he felt like an outsider in a sense, like, meeting when they moved in, meeting everybody, like like they were all telling him about the neighborhood. I was like, oh, maybe they just like moved there or something. I don't know.
Different neighborhood.
Okay.
All right. I've got some questions for my two fantastic friends. The first being, do you think we even needed? Oh, by the way, we should go around the horn and just, for clarification. I love this movie. Nicole, I know you love this movie. Shannon?
Yeah, I love this movie.
We love this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this is used to death, and I apologize, but it really is a hidden gem. Okay.
I agree.
Do we need, because, Nicole, to your point, because Kevin Bacon, through hypnosis, his mind is expanded, and he's susceptible to it's so expanded that he's now susceptible to like other dimensions. Do we need the Jake factor? Jake being the son of Tom and Maggie. We need the Jake factor of it all? Because there's a way where you don't even need Jake being able to see ghosts, a la The Sixth Sense. You can remove that completely from the screenplay in the movie, and the movie still works because you have the Kevin Bacon of it all, right?
Well, Nicole, do you want to go first? I have an answer for that.
Go ahead. I'm still kind of formulating.
Okay, I liked the son because he was Jake. He had a natural factor for it, right? And even in the very first scene, like I remember, like that actually chilled me when because I saw this in the theater, so I saw it on the big screen, immersed in the dark room and watching it. So when his name was Zachary David Cope. So when he was just staring into the camera and just talking to the camera, you're not sure. Like, this is the opening scene, and he literally goes, does it hurt to be dead? And you're like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Well, it's great because you think he's breaking the fourth wall of the movie in the first 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, and I thought it was an interesting factor for him to be kind of somewhat of a natural entity to see and help his father, like help guide his father. But because he's so young, like he clearly couldn't explain to his dad what's going on. Like to him, I think he's too young. To him, this might be kind of normal.
Yeah.
Where when his dad starts seeing and going crazy, he's like, Dad, like what's wrong with Dad? Like, it's just a ghost. Like, or I don't even know if he knows it's a ghost. Well, actually, no, he does. I think
when he first starts seeing the ghosts, the little kid is at the top of the stairs, Jake, and Kevin Bacon's walking up the stairs, and he's like, "Daddy, you're awake now. Don't be afraid." I mean, clearly he knows something is creepy and
something's going on. Yeah.
But I also think he considers it normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this script is so incredibly tight and good because you could lose the Jake factor. And Shannon, don't get me wrong. I don't want to. I'm just amazed that you could trim that, movie still works. You could trim the supernatural elements from this movie still works. It could just be a 1999 Chicago neighborhood whodunit, and it still works. I love the supernatural elements, don't get me wrong. And there's a choice made in the last 30 seconds of this film where they're driving to a new undisclosed house. They're getting out of the neighborhood, as you would, and Jake's in the back seat and he's picking up all of the disembodied voices of the ghosts, and he puts his little hands over his little ears. That's a tragic ending.
Yeah.
This movie ends. I mean, here. All right, ready for tangent number 1? Here we go. Hold on. Let me buckle up.
Like a roller coaster ride.
Oh my goodness. This movie, it works on so many unbelievably fantastic levels, which you could kind of like interchange and lose some and keep some, but it works so unbelievably well. But what we never really talk about, and it's funny because, Nicole, we have Grady Hendrix coming on for an episode later on today. Grady Hendrix wrote an entire novel, Final Girls Support Group, which is the one element that we never think of is what happens after the final credits. Or I shouldn't say we never think of, but we seldom think of. Like, this movie ends okay for the parents. They went through a very traumatic experience, but they love each other. There's that shot of them with the hands, with the moving truck. By the way, gorgeous shots in this movie. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous shots. So, like, you get the sense of, like, they're going to be okay. But then there's such a conscious decision made by Kep to show that Jake is not going to be okay. Yeah. Like no one listened to him this entire film, and he was trying to not guide them along, but he was in his own way, Nicole, trying to say, like, we have ghosts, there's ghosts, you know?
Yeah.
And nothing is resolved for poor little Jake. So there's that one punch at the end, and I just kind of love this film all the more for it because it lands. I mean, it really does land. Oh.
Yeah.
It's funny because you're like, yeah, all this stuff could be lifted out. Not that you wanted to, but it could. No. I'm arguing, though, that it would have less of a connection to the Shining world, which I know we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Because how can you not? Yeah. But it would have less of a parallel there if you did. Because of the whole issue of Neil, the police officer. And you wouldn't necessarily have that link to explain exactly what was going on. And that's why I think you need Jake.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you need the introduction of Debbie, the babysitter, who is the sister of Samantha, right?
Samantha, yeah.
So you need the Jake factor there, which is also such a fantastic scene because Catherine Irby's on the phone and she's frantically looking for a babysitter, and little Jake is like, what about Debbie? Oh yeah, Debbie. How do you know about Debbie? Samantha told me, and she's not even paying attention. Not like, who the fuck is Samantha? You know?
Yeah.
Such also, good writing. The thing at the end with the feathers.
Oh, yes.
Without Jake, there's no scene with the feathers. I mean, there would be the scene, but it wouldn't make much. Like emotional sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense, I don't think, at all.
Also, shout out to kind of like the end of incredibly good practical effect work. That bullet going through 2 floors and then through the pillow, you know, I mean, they do that.
I read something, speaking of practical effects, that the scene with Kevin Bacon in the bathroom and the tooth was a practical effect.
That looked practical. Yeah, that looked practical. I kind of got Poltergeist vibes. I mean, obviously Poltergeist was more, but that kind of brought me to that, like a little homage to that scene, like looking in the mirror. And,
Shannon, do you want to know how it was done? Because I read the same article, Nicole.
Yeah.
All right. We'll tell Shannon, and by proxy, we'll tell all our listeners. So they darkened Kevin Bacon's tooth and put a cap over it. He's pulling the cap and, you know, doing his good Kevin Bacon acting. Mm-hmm. And they added the sound effects, squishy, you know, crunchy sound effects. So he pulls the cap out. The camera follows, and he's palming a fake tooth. He palms the fake tooth into the sink. The camera follows that, and it bing, bing, bing. Someone comes from off screen and wipes the blood and the ink off of Kevin Bacon's tooth, and then the camera comes back up to him. The magic of movie making!
So simple, yet effective.
It's a scene that creeps me out a lot because I have such a problem with teeth. Like, it's a trigger for me.
Mine is nails.
That would be the other thing. I'd have to look away.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know how many times I've seen that scene? Once.
Same.
on the big screen. I'm scarred for life after that.
No. Yeah, no. Nail trauma and eye trauma and mouth trauma. All the traumas.
Yeah.
Yep. As I'm putting my nails back on, like just I start doing this.
So I'm gonna pass out off screen.
Yep. Okay.
Nicole, we're going to get to the Shining factor. We're going to get into influences for sure. But can I just take one moment? Because I do want to talk about the 1999 of it all for this movie. Because, you know, as we stated previously, 1999 was just this pinnacle year. You know, you get them, you know, you get these like banner years. 99 happens to be one of them that's just off the charts, and that my heart breaks for this film. I wish it could have been released. We would have loved this in 2002. We would have killed for this in 2002. Because 99 was so jam-packed, it did get unfairly overlooked. I would love to sit here and tell you both, but you know what? Stir of Echoes is having a resurgence, and you know it's found the popularity that it so richly deserved. It has not.
No, but people still love the film.
Yeah, it's a Nicole telling Sean telling Shannon kind of movie, you know, and just But it breaks my heart that it just doesn't have that that it's been rediscovered. All right. So let's start with some of the influences. And I think let's start with Richard Matheson himself, who's the source material. Richard Matheson wrote one of my favorite movies. I don't know if how do you guys feel about Steven Spielberg's Duel?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
I loved Duel.
Nicole, I'm so glad you said that. Shannon, I'm so glad you said that. But Nicole, I'm even more glad that you said that. Duel was a made-for-TV movie in the 70s. You know, it gets a shout out to Cinema Arts Center here on Long Island. They showed Duel not that long ago. But it's just one of those films that kind of gets passed over, especially because Jaws was Spielberg's next. And it just it's like, his previous, like Sugarland Express and Duel. I'm like, I love you. I see you. I love you, you know. But Matheson is he's an incredible thriller writer. Not to take anything away from him for his horror. But boy, oh boy, can he write thrillers. Some of the best Twilight Zone episodes. Just really knows character and pacing and where to lay down those scares that propel you to the next scare, but not like it's not like an abundance of his mouth and words and brain.
It simmers.
Thank you.
He lets it simmer, and when it lands, I think it stays with you.
It does.
It's not like the quick jump. That's why there's such a when everyone talks about jump scares, that's kind of why the jump scares are not always very well respected, because when you keep doing jump scare, it starts losing its effect, and you're like, okay, quickly move on to the next one. When you actually let something simmer, we remember it, and sure. that's what makes that's what makes it the lasting factor. I don't know. Yeah, words are hard, but it makes it better. It makes for a better experience. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nicole, I saw Smile 2 last weekend, which I loved. But when you want to talk about jump scares, there are 50 in this movie. I was walking in my car afterwards, nice. No one could make loud noises around me for 48 hours.
Like a Mexican jumping bean.
Jump scares galore. But I love what you're saying, Shannon, because look, who doesn't love a good jump scare? But if you can actually concoct a feeling of dread that's as effective as a jump scare, but stays with you, that's a special little torturous gift. And who doesn't love that?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we got our Matheson factor to our Koepp factor. So now you've got David Koepp, who is an incredible screenwriter. Oh my goodness gracious. So it's like this embarrassment of riches of people that really know how to use words. Unlike your two hosts. But I hate to say that this movie was destined to be as great as it is, but I cannot figure out how it couldn't be with these two magnificent, talented people at the helm. Then you bring in the talents of the actors. By the way, okay, tangent number 2. We've got to talk about Ileana Douglas.
I love Ileana Douglas.
Yeah.
She's my favorite thing in this movie.
She's fabulous.
Yeah. She's fantastic.
And it's almost like, you might not have a friend. Everyone's got a friend like her. It might not be exactly like her, but all of us have that friend,
Oh, yeah.
And you got to love them. They just, march to the beat of their own drum. And I think she's a perfect loving foil for Kevin Bacon. Because let's talk about it. In the beginning of the film, he finds out that he's going to have another child, and his reaction was,
bummer.
Yeah.
Tom's a bit of a dick, you know. Look, you know, Kevin Bacon. He's a Kevin Bacon dick, but still, Tom makes very poor choices in the beginning of this film, and he does get his mind expanded, thankfully, you know, by Ileana Douglas. Maybe not. I mean, maybe not thankfully for Tom, but you know, he starts to evolve as a character at the same time devolve with his sanity. Nicole, can I defer to you as an incredible writer? How do you do that? I'm like, it hurts my head thinking about it.
So I will tell you that you can have all the best lines in the world, but if your actor is not delivering them appropriately, it's not going to work.
That makes sense.
So when Ileana Douglas, after she hypnotizes Kevin Bacon's character, says to him, "You were very cooperative," that is like my favorite line in the movie because of the way that she delivers it.
Yes.
She's just so sarcastic.
Yeah. But she was being serious too.
Yes.
Like she was being she's being like that, and that's what's great about her character is I think everything she says, she's just genuinely honest. And even at times when she's funny, I'm like, I don't necessarily think she's trying to be funny. Like when he goes back for help, and she's like, "All right, not gonna lie, Tom, but me and my friend, we just smoked this big fat blunt, and I'm not really like with it right now." And he's like, "I don't give a shit. You have to hypnotize me again.
You gotta fix me. What did you do to me?"
Yeah, she's just like
so good.
stoned out of her mind. She's like, "All right, going in."
But the script was also really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
The act. They did the right thing by getting whoever the casting director was. And apologies, that's part of my job. I should have looked that up. But did a phenomenal job. Incredible talent. Kevin Bacon's wonky accent, Chicago accent aside, everything is right there on the screen. I mean, this movie is full of so much emotion. You know, I mean, it is like, you know, it is right there on the surface.
And Bacon's such a good face actor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of perfect for the role in so many ways.
Oh,
yeah,
Nicole,
and he almost didn't want to do it too. Like he, you know, sometimes some actors hear like horror movie and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to do a horror movie." But then but Kevin Bacon, I think it was his his manager, you know, said or whatever, like, you know, like read the script because it's not just like a slasher flick or whatever. Like Sean, like you said, it definitely, like, this movie does hold emotion as well, because like I said, what happens and what he discovers is really horrible. Mm-hmm. It's like more horrific than just a random, you know, slasher or just a random ghost story.
Kevin was having, you know, I mean, we were in the Kevisance. I mean, I don't think we've ever left, to be honest.
I don't think we did.
You know, but I mean, he was having a moment in the 90s, and again, Kevin, if you're listening, I hope you are.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah. We love you, Kevin.
He's become, I mean, he's iconic. He's just iconic. Now, if Kevin Bacon's in something now, you're like, okay, great. There's quality, you know,
sure.
Regardless of whether it lands or not, you're like, all right, cool. You know, we're in good hands. But he was having it back then. So I kind of understand maybe a little bit of hesitation. David Koepp's first directorial effort. So first-time director. Yeah. I think they're like, oh,
however,
okay.
Let's face it. If you think about Kevin Bacon and you're a horror fan, what's the first thing you think about?
Oh, shoot. Oh, for me, it's the Hollow Man. I'm sorry.
Friday the 13th.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And most recently, Cop Car. I actually really enjoyed him in Cop Car. I thought it was a great film.
So
I've never seen it yet.
It's a good film.
I always think of him from Friday the 13th getting impaled from below.
Oh, yeah. And he legit almost drowned because the blood went right into his mouth. Yeah.
Which I love. I mean, not, you know.
All right, wait.
We love your
point of view.
Yeah, we love your efforts, Kevin.
Because this episode is turning out to be practical magic and why we love those effects. Shannon's heard the story, but Nicole, I got to tell you the story. So, Kevin, this is how old I am. Kevin Bacon is on the Tonight Show. And he's telling this story about he's laying down in the bed, and Tom Savini is telling him, the prop's gonna look like it comes through, and we're gonna squirt the blood, and don't worry, it's gonna get all over, but if you can avoid it, don't get it in your mouth. And Kevin Bacon is on the bed, and he's like, why shouldn't I get it in my mouth? And he's like, well, it's basically made up of half of photo processing chemicals, so you don't want to swallow that, it's poison. And Kevin Bacon's telling the story, and then they're like, and go. And they're like, it goes, and he's like, and of course, it all goes in my mouth.
All of it.
He's freaking out. So I was like, I enjoy that Kevin Bacon story, and he had such a good sense of humor about it because he didn't break the take. He just swallowed it, and he's like, well, if I die, I die.
Yeah.
At the time, he's like, I'm in Friday the 13th. Who is even going to see this?
Everyone.
Yeah.
He's got some serious horror bona fides. And we just talked about this on Shortcuts the other week. He's making a horror movie called, it's Family. I want to say Family Matters, but I think that was the sitcom from the 80s with Kira Sedgwick. So, I mean, that whole family now is basically horror royalty,
As it should be.
As it should be, for sure.
Okay, so we've got our source material, our director, our actors. The film looks gorgeous. The story is fantastic. It really does. Once Kevin Bacon starts to have these visions, the story really does. We kind of leave that coziness. And so I'm so sorry, Gorley and Russ, that I'm stealing your words. Because they're always talking about cozy horror. But also fuck you guys. Cozy horror was the thing before you started talking about it. I take that back, hard to you. But the beginning of this movie is very cozy. You really do feel this neighborhood. Who doesn't love a house party where you can hang out on the porch?
Especially when it's just like 2 houses away. Like, I don't have to worry about driving home. It's right there. It's a quick
Makes
walk.
me jealous. Like, my neighborhood is not like that.
Yeah.
No. Not my style at all.
But when you went peace and quiet, your neighborhood is perfect.
Yeah. Someone bought a keg. All of a sudden I'm 18. Let's do this thing. We have these great Kevin Bacon saying bummer, but then trying to desperately make up for it a scene later. We do get this nice family dynamic in this nice, cozy, warm, loving house. That's a testament to the cinematographer and the director. Like, they shoot this movie very, very cozy, but then halfway through, it almost goes cold. They're still using those, what I love about 90s horror movies and thrillers is you had lots of electric blues and deep reds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shannon's got it going on right now in her background.
90s, baby.
I miss
You're
that
ready
so
for a
much.
horror
90s,
film to happen
baby.
around you.
I really do miss the aesthetic of 90s movie making. I know that we have to move on and do different things, but it was you're watching a 90s movie when you start to see those background colors pop up, and they're fantastic. See, they start shooting in that, and the movie really does change, because now we start to get frantic and worried for Kevin Bacon, because we know as the audience, we're privy to what is going on. But if you put yourself in the shoes of his wife, any of his friends, poor Kev is losing his marbles, and this is we're concerned. And I kind of love the way that is handled. There's no, I think a lesser director and screenwriter would be tempted to give like a hint, like, don't worry, somebody would believe in him. The only somebody we have is a child who, so that's useless. And Kev's got to shoulder this burden all by himself. Now, what I love about it is that Catherine Irby as Maggie, she's so loving that she doesn't want to see what is going on. Like she's just hoping that he can kind of snap himself out of it or get past this. And we know as the audience, he can't do that unless he finds the corpse or resolves this in some manner. It turns out finding the corpse is the the linchpin to it. But we're made to have our heart broken by what's happening to Kevin Bacon, and he sells it every scene he's in. How did you two feel about the second half of the movie? So that trajectory.
I mean, as the story is unfolding more and more, and you're realizing like there's something trying to reach out to him. Like I feel like you're more with him at this point. Like there's definitely something going on, and we see Samantha. So like and Jake is talking to her, and like so we know there's definitely something reaching out, and something happened. Yeah. So I feel like you are on the side of Tom, Kevin Bacon's character, more so than anybody else. Because like I said, you know there's something going on.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Nicole.
So the second half of the movie for me feels, and again, I'm heading back to The Shining, right? So the parallels we see on The Shining very much hit all the points in the same sort of way that they do in Stir of Echoes. You have the father figure sort of devolving into madness, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the scene that I love in Stir of Echoes is the scene in the backyard where he's digging, and when Maggie comes out, he like freaks out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm just digging, okay?
Yeah. In the same way, though, that you see Jack Nicholson freaking out in The Shining.
Yeah.
And always while the little boy is sort of adjacent to all of this.
Right.
Great call. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's great. That's a good point.
Yeah. And I know that like everybody thinks, if they don't know who Matheson is, that the movie was inspired by The Shining rather than the other way around.
Okay.
And the one thing, if you do love Matheson, right? The whole little Easter egg where the babysitter is reading The Invisible Man, or not The Invisible Man. What's it called? The Shrinking Man.
Yes.
The Incredible Shrinking Man. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that to me is like that little hint, like you should be paying attention to this.
Like,
yes.
Nicole, that's a fantastic point, because I mean, look, if we're gonna be truthful about it, King was inspired by Matheson. King writes The Shining based off what he learned from Matheson. Matheson writes Stir of Echoes. People would compare it to The Shining.
Yeah, like it's a full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, should get the red yarn out like Charlie Day.
Yes.
It's just delightful.
It is.
Just delightful.
Oh, I love that.
You can kind of almost imagine Stephen King sitting down to write this and being like, okay, so you have this little kid who can see ghosts. And, well, what if instead of the father being influenced by malevolent ghosts, this other thing, or instead of the father being influenced by benevolent ghosts, let's say, what if this other thing happens? And you can kind of see the jump. Yeah. But also, and this is like really like a screenwriting thing. You've read or know about the Save the Cat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shannon, Save the Cat is this book that is sort of like a screenwriting Bible.
Okay.
And it hits all of these sort of points along the movie. And you can see them at work really, really easily in Stir of Echoes, including the Save the Cat moment.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Save the Cat, the moment is when the protagonist, who might be unlikable, maybe, does this thing where he saves the cat and becomes likable. And that's how you root for him throughout the film.
I see. Okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, and of course, once you read the book, then every movie you're going to see, you're going to be like, oh.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
It goes back to that.
And I don't even know that Save the Cat existed at that point, but you can kind of see it playing out in the screenplay. It's really very interesting.
That's awesome.
Shannon can't sell her screenplay because on page 3, she kills the cat.
I have an answer for you, Schrodinger.
There.
Not interested. Do not. All right. Will you two allow me to go on a wild tangent, but I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to play Smash or Trash with the both of you. All right. Okay. So Nicole, Smash or Trash. Smash or Trash is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to name movies, and you're going to say it's either a smash or a trash. Okay. So I'll put some backstory to it. So the 90s, what the 80s were to horror, the 90s were to thrillers.
Sure.
So I'm going to go through our list, and this is not even remotely a full list of the thrillers that we had in the 90s, but we were spoiled. All right, we're going to start off light. How about Alicia Silverstone in The Crush?
I'm in the middle.
I love that movie.
All right, so
I love that movie.
All right, now I'm gonna throw one at you. All right, Silence of the Lambs.
Love.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
I guess Smash.
Smash. Yeah.
All right. How about this one? This one, I think I it's not horror, but I kind of really want to do this movie. What about Malice? Have you guys seen Malice?
Yes.
That sounds really familiar. Hold on.
I'm above middle ground, but towards Smash.
No, Nicole, you have to play by the rules. It's a smash or it's a trash.
Fine, Smash.
I don't think I ever saw it, so I don't know.
It's been a while for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. That's an Alec Baldwin, Nicole Kidman, huh? Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, a young Gwyneth Paltrow. All right.
Really?
How about Single White Female?
Smash.
How about A Simple Plan? Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton, Bridget Fonda.
I don't think I saw that one.
I don't think I have either.
Oh, that's Waiting for the Two. You directed by Sam Raimi. So good.
Really?
So good. Based off an incredible novel by Scott Smith. Oh, it's so good.
A Simple Plan.
A Simple Plan. I'm going to throw a little Julia Roberts at you. She pops up a couple of times here. Let's start out with Sleeping with the Enemy.
I love that movie. As soon as you said her name, I'm like, I know what movie you're going to say.
Nicole, I'll do it for you. Nicole and I are trashing this one.
Yeah?
I'll watch it if it's on.
Okay. All right. That's a trash. All right. Now staying with, what about The Net?
Never saw it.
The Net. I don't know if I saw that one. No.
That's a trash. All right. What about Flatliners?
Love. Smash. Hulk Smash.
Yeah.
No, I love that film. I love it so much.
Smash and Trash is a fun game, isn't it? I'm smashing as well. I don't
remember. I definitely saw that movie, but it's been so long. I would have to watch it again to give an official answer.
Okay, I have a feeling you'd really like it.
Yeah, me too.
I think I remember liking it. It was so
Joel Schumacher, and it was like, old time Hollywood, where it's like, get me the biggest stars, all the stars. I want all the stars, the biggest stars,
Very Rat Packy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which I usually love.
Love that too. I love that too. Okay. What about Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which is being remade, by the way?
I've been hearing that for years. Is it really happening?
It's really. Yeah, this time it's really.
I think they should leave it alone.
Rebecca De Mornay, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a smash for me.
Okay. I'm smashing that one too. All right. All right. Nicole, if you make any sort of noise that is not the word smash, we know it's
we know it's trash. We know, like, it's clearly trash.
It just goes to show you, Julie. It's just that I don't love it.
Well, that's it. Just goes to show what a good person you are, that you're very hesitant to trash anything. All right. Now we're going to get to some bigger directors and some bigger budgets. I'll wrap it up here. We're going to do 3 of these. So how about The Fugitive? Harrison Ford and The Fugitive. I say that word weird. Fugitive.
You wanted to sound it out.
I don't think I am the audience for this film.
Okay. Another Chicago-based film, by the way. Chicago was having a moment back in the 90s.
I think it's one of those films, like Nicole, you said it before. Like, if it's on, I'll watch it. It's not a movie I'm going to chase to watch it again.
Nicole, I'm giving you a pass on this one. That one feels more action movie than thriller. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm getting that out of there. And I was gonna do Speed as well. That's an action movie. What am I doing? That's out of there. Okay.
Yeah, that's an action movie.
Ooh, how about this one? What about Primal Fear with Richard Gere?
I like
And
that film.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what's his nuts? Who is a good actor? My God, it was his first movie. Ed Norton. Oh, sorry, Ed Norton. Ed Norton, I guarantee you're listening, so I don't care.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're just gonna end on these three. What about now? You guys gonna yell at me because this is probably more straight up horror. What about Jacob's Ladder? Is that a
I
thriller?
like that movie.
Yeah, same.
Smash.
Sorry.
Hulk smash. To
Okay,
me.
I don't know if it's a thriller though, so I think I broke my own rules on that one.
See, Jacob's Ladder. No, I think I will go with it. It has thriller and suspense
Vibes.
elements to it. Yes.
Good enough
when
for
you
me.
know that one, I want to break that down more in a different episode, so I'm not going to spoil the ending of that. But when you know the ending and everything that he was going through, to me that works in a suspense way.
Okay.
Because the horrors that he saw I think are genuine.
Okay. Yeah.
And certain people have actually dealt with that kind of a trauma. So I would say it's more trauma suspense based, but that is one of my favorite movies.
You sold me.
Ever.
No, you sold me.
I love that movie. I would love to break that one down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that movie too. You know, because that's in our wheelhouse for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
The last two, actually the last three, Kiss the Girls with Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman. Is that a police procedural? It's a thriller.
It is.
And again, Carrie Elwes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of horror movies, Carrie Elwes, that people don't realize.
Yeah. So I will tell you that I disliked the film because I liked the book better. And that is my only reason.
Okay.
That's fair.
That is fair. That is way fair. Okay.
That's fair.
How
I
about
remember liking it.
How about Fincher's The Game with Michael Douglas?
I haven't seen that in years and years and years.
Trash.
I can't even remember it.
Okay. All right. All right. We got a definitive.
That's a trash for me.
All right. I'm smashing and Shannon's trashing and we have an undecided because didn't see. Okay. That's fair. And then the last one, I think kind of like exemplifies the 90s thriller, and that's Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton,
I like
Matthew Modine, and Melanie Griffith. Yeah, that is. But like when you talk about 90s thrillers, and shit, you're like, well, Basic Instinct is like the prototype.
Sure.
But there were all of these offshoots of these domestic thrillers, Unlawful Entry, which I didn't mention. What's the other one? Oh my God. I love this movie with Kurt Russell, and oh my gosh, please help me, you two. I know you know the movie, and they're driving across country, and then the white gets kidnapped. Then Kurt Russell's got to save her.
That's not Brad Pitt, right?
No, I don't know what movie you're thinking.
I can vaguely kind of see like
I
the
heard it
movie
you're talking
in
about.
my head, and I can't remember it.
Breakdown. The movie is Breakdown. Oh, you two were going to witness me have a fucking stroke in real time if I didn't get that goddamn movie name.
So I have two movies actually that I think are both in the 90s that
No,
I
we're
want
out
to
of
add
time.
to your list.
Forget it.
Of course, what are they?
My partners, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what? Because this one was, I definitely remember this one was 1999. What about Stigmata?
I love that film.
I never saw it.
That
okay,
is-
I'll
Oh
watch
my
it
God,
this week.
Sean.
I'll watch
That
it
is
this
a-
week. I'm sorry.
That is a perfect grunge 90s era.
Yes.
Patricia Arquette and
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Both of them are so good in this film.
Very.
Yeah.
you
And it
have my
appeals to
word.
me because of the religious aspects to it. I mean, again, I am not religious in the slightest, but I really liked that piece of it.
Because it's an interesting aspect of that storytelling.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. For sure.
Plus, like, I really wanted to be Frankie in that film. Like,
Yeah.
that was
same.
the age where I was like, I want to be that cool.
Yeah, I totally base a lot of my outfits off that movie for sure. Yeah.
All right. I'm just
Absolutely.
I want to put this out there. Patricia Arquette been the fifth person in The Craft? She would fit in perfectly. Like if there are 5 instead of 4.
If they had a 5th, yeah.
No, it's never too late for there to be a not a remake, but like a sequel, like another sequel, a better sequel.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I've done this to you twice.
A worthy sequel.
I've done this to you twice already, Nicole, and you always are like, I'm so fucking busy, leave me alone. Why don't you write the script to that? I don't know, I'm just putting this out there.
Sure, why not? I'm going to have a couple of extra days coming up.
Yeah, if no one else is going to do it, you might as well just do it yourself.
We're going to the 9-day work week. You didn't know?
No overtime.
No.
I do have one more film.
Let me hear.
So actually, I just looked it up. 1996. So it's worthy. Okay. Does anybody remember Freeway?
I remember
gosh,
but I don't know that I saw it.
Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland.
Great movie.
Yeah, that's more of like a crime drama, I would say.
Huh.
Kind of like Stir of Echoes. Stir of Echoes is somewhat of a crime, if you think about it. A crime suspense drama. Obviously, it has a different element to it with the supernatural aspect to it, where this one is just straight more like crime drama. But I remember really liking this movie.
I love a crime movie that doesn't involve the police. Like I love people, like regular people having to, figure it out.
Yeah.
Love that subgenre.
Unrelated, but since we were talking about sequels, have you seen the sequel to Stir of Echoes?
No. I know there is one, but I have not seen it.
I watched it last night.
Okay.
It's hideously bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be good.
So that's a trash.
Yeah. Interestingly, one of the characters in it, tangentially anyway, is the son, Jake.
Okay.
Oh,
but as a result.
Okay.
So they do continue the story.
Yeah. From that perspective, like, that's kind of interesting because you do get a little bit more of what became of him. However, it has Rob Lowe in it as the starring guy. And, it's so bad. The script is bad. Everything about it sucks. Just don't see it.
Sorry, Rob Lowe, because I love Rob Lowe.
Yeah, I mean, no,
I don't think Rob Lowe's in any jeopardy of this impacting his career. By the way, Rob Lowe's a fucking vampire because the guy he's still Billy playing the saxophone at St. Elmo's Fire.
For sure.
Yes.
It's annoying. He's like the Jonathan Jans of fucking movies. All right, I have to quiz the both of you. Sorry to put you on the spot, but you're two of the smartest people I know, and I am not, so I need your help. Okay. I know why horror. I know why the 80s is the pinnacle decade, in my opinion, and I think Shannon's too, right, Shannon?
Yeah.
We love 80s horror because it was the boom of practical effects, and that went away. And we get great things, but we miss that. So that's why we have this affinity for 80s horror. Plus, there were really good directors and really good acting and really good screenplays. So it was all right there. The 90s thrillers are the same thing. You have points of diminishing returns for sure. We just talked about The Crush and ended up on Silence of the Lambs. Like, the spectrum is vast. But why do you think the thriller went away? It is gone. It's gone.
I feel like it's like, well, I don't know if it's necessarily gone. I feel like it's like everything, like anything else, like where.
Sorry. You're right. It's gone from the Cineplex. It is absolutely on streaming.
Yeah.
Original content for streaming, but it is gone from the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just think it's not what's hot right now. Like where, like the boost, like the, we were mentioning it a few episodes ago when Paranormal Activity came out, and then all of a sudden we just got this like blast of movies of what do you call it? The
found footage.
Words. Thank you. So found footage films. Thank you. And then we all got sick of it. Me literally, because I can't watch those films at all without vomiting.
My poor partner needs to take Dramamine.
There.
feel like I'm on a cruise ship the whole time, but I just think it's like anything else, where it's just like, all right, guys, enough of this. We need something new. We need something hip. So yeah, I think it's just not what's on the forefront right now. I mean, I'm hoping they'll come back.
I would agree with that. I mean, there's a certain level. You mentioned diminishing returns, right? So, like, at a certain point, there are only so many stories you can tell, right? Like, I think there are like a small number of story archetypes. And I think because the 90s went hard on thrillers, it became increasingly hard to find something that hadn't been done. And you can't remake a thriller. I mean, you can, but because of the nature of the thriller, it gets harder to do that, to remake them and make something new and interesting that people want to see.
Yeah, which is why we get those boom of those movies. Like, you know, like when Scream came out, I mean, Scream is a pretty simple movie. It's a slasher flick, right? But after we didn't get that for a good decade from the 80s, all of a sudden they brought it back in the 90s and people lost their fucking minds. Like, it was just like, what is this new brand spanking new idea that nobody thought of? Like, what?
You're so right. See, this is why I asked you to. That's why I asked my smarty pants friend.
Saw was another film, right? When Saw came out, people, again, lost their fucking minds because it was a simple, you know, crime. That was another crime, suspense drama, escalated with the horror elements because, you know, there was practical effects in that as well. Yeah. You know, it has different elements to it too, but it was like the first of its kind. Again, people lost their fucking minds. But it came out at the right time.
Yeah.
What I am interested in seeing, by the way, again, and I know people have very, very strong opinions on Cabin in the Woods. I would have thought that once you did Cabin in the Woods, you would have seen a lot more of these weird sort of mashup type films, which we didn't get.
Yeah. I don't think people could think of it.
It was not a hit. That movie is beloved by the three of us and so many horror peoples, but it wasn't a hit. You know?
Can I tell a really quick story on that film?
Of course.
So I loved it so much that we actually took friends and saw it a second time, me and my husband. Like, we're like, no, this is worthy of seeing it again. And we brought, you know, like new eyes. Like, you need to see what we saw. And so the second time we saw it, you know, now that we know what to expect, and, you know, like every once in a while looking at our friends, whatever, who were enjoying it. But there was another couple, which, you know, whatever, age is fine, whatever. But they were definitely, we'll go older than us. Go with that. And if you know the film, there's not much more I need to say. But it was at the scene when all the elevator doors did open. That's when they chose to leave. That's where they left him. So now, but me and my husband, we were like maniacally laughing at that point. We're like, you can't handle it. But that was the scene you chose to leave? Like, a lot of shit happened before that. Yikes. So I just had to say that because it like delighted me more. Like, I think that was like just proof of like, no, this is like the best movie ever made right now.
Nice.
Those elevator doors opening and everything coming out just sums up my childhood. Right? Everything I love and adore.
Yes.
It's so great. Such a perfect moment.
It really is.
Yeah. I wish we got more, you know, of that kind of mashup. Oh, be perfect.
Mm-hmm. What I am hoping for is now that The Substance is out, and have you guys seen it yet?
Yes.
Okay. So I hope you're going to do an episode on it because I really want to hear much, much more about this. But
would you like to be part of that episode?
Yes.
All right. That's what we're doing.
Excellent. So what I really want,
total smash.
I want this to be a moment, and also like politically speaking, I want this to be a moment where we see more women directing, more women focused films, more female gaze films, more films about menopause.
And by the book, Nicole, why don't you give a shout out to what you're
Yes. Powerful of Burning, the anthology I put together for Sliced Up Press a few years ago, which centers horror through the lens of menopause, and coincidentally has been a bestseller at all of my events lately because women are so pissed off.
The perfect read along. If you go see The Substance, and you absolutely should, this book is the perfect read along. Go out and buy it.
And I didn't write any of it,
show
so I can say that it's brilliant without sounding like a jerk.
You never sound like a jerk.
You
and
never
the
sound
link,
like a jerk.
The link is going to be in the show notes. So one-stop shopping. And guess what's coming up? The holidays.
Whoop. Buy it for your friends.
All right. This is a perfect segue to when we take the keys of the podcast and we hand it to Nicole. Nicole, what do you have coming up? What do you want our listeners to know about? And what are you excited about for 2025? I know there's a lot of stuff we're not excited about.
For sure.
We'll keep it on a positive note.
Yeah, give our listeners hope. What
we
do
need
we
some
got?
we need some positivity for sure.
All right. So I don't have any books coming out at the moment. And I stress at the moment. There are some things in the works that may or may not be happening, and who knows. However, if you have a problem with teeth, as I do, you may be interested in an anthology called The Horror That Represents You. And it is by Bridget's Gate Press. It's coming out in a few weeks in December. And the idea behind this is the folks chosen for the table of contents here are horror writers that are writing stories that are personally horrifying to them.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. And let's just say my story in there has to do with my fear of losing teeth. And I get very uncomfortable when I have to reread it.
Have you ever had that dream? Because I feel like everyone at least once has that dream. Yeah.
So aside
disturbing.
from that, when I was a little kid, I lost most of my baby teeth at one time because I fell on my face in the middle of the street and fell face first.
Oh.
Yeah. And so this to me is much more personal than like the weird dream that you have about losing your teeth, because it's happened to me and I'm like, ugh!
Yeah. Oh, that's awful.
Oh.
So there's that. In probably maybe a week, there is a creative nonfiction piece that I have coming out in issue 25 of Vincent Brothers Review. And funnily enough, In the Darkness We Dig, which is my story that's in the Horror That Represents You anthology, is set in my house. The house that I live in.
Your haunted house.
My haunted house. But this has nothing to do with the actual story.
Just saying. Just want to say that out loud.
So in the Vincent Brothers Review, my story that's in there is The Stories We Tell Ourselves. It's about stigmatized houses, and it's also set in my house, but this time it's about the stuff that we found in the house when we bought it.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is the whole other story. Next year, so something to look forward to in January.
Cool.
Tick Books has Hauntings in Hoarfrost coming out, which is another anthology. And I have a ghost story in there called Everything in Its Place. And that's what I know for sure is coming out in the next couple of months.
Okay.
I also weirdly have an essay, a pop culture essay on Deep Space Nine on one of the episodes in an anthology, a collection that's coming out, but I don't know when it's actually coming out.
Okay.
All right.
Could be next year, could be the year after.
This is great. We've got stuff on the horizon. I know you're always working on stuff as well. And yeah, I mean, you're just busy.
Indeed.
I know that we had, oh, by the way, A Misfortune of Lake Monsters. If you don't own this book, you're not invited to my karate themed birthday party. How about that?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good excuse to go buy it right there.
Go buy this book. Oh, it has got everything. It has got my misfit characters that I love so much and I highly identify with. It has got cryptids. It's got pretend lake monsters, but then it's got real lake monsters. It has got piece of shit, corporate assholes. It's got all the goods. It's got all the goods in it. So,
and of course, I've got like that last event next week, which is my last event of the year.
I will have that. Oh, well, you know what? I was going to lie and say we'll put that in the show notes, but the event will have passed. So we'll promote that on social media for you. I promise. Yeah.
Thursday is my panel discussion at Iceland Noir. So when you wake up on Thursday and, think positive thoughts for me. My panel is with the author of The Night Guest, if you've read that. which is a delightful, creepy book set in Reykjavik, which I'm very excited about.
Sean's face is gonna explode.
I'm so I'm dying. I'm so jealous and I'm so happy for you. But it's like the jealousy is battling with the happiness. I want so badly to go to these places.
I will pack you both in my carry-on.
Oh, we're there.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, don't you need some? You're like, you go get me a Voss water. And I'm like, right away, ma'am. By the way, we're not sponsored by Voss. They never even approached us. So. You've got so many great things on the horizon, but let us stress you have so many great things you've already done. Mm-hmm. What I will have in the show notes is a link to your website, which I highly recommend people going on because it's beautiful and it's actually a lot of fun. And it's one-stop shopping for everything, Nicole, especially your incredible books. So that will be there. Please check out every single work that you have done, that Nicole has done, because they're great. They're just as great as you are. So I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan, Nicole.
I'm a fan of you guys, so it's like mutual admiration society time.
Yay!
I turned into Billy Eichner there for a second.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, Stir of Echoes, we love you. We're going to scream your name, from the mountaintops and hope more people find you. But it's also kind of great that it's a little something for us,
Yeah, for sure.
Nicole, as always, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have you back for the substance. Nobody likes a liar, so you're going to have to do it.
What is it now? The substance?
Slacks.
Grease 2.
Oh, Grease 2. All right. Fair enough. Grease 2 is going to be our April Fool's episode, so we know that we're going to have you for that.
It's a deal.
I'd love to,
providing I'm not in the gulag.
Well, we already talked about this. I get top bunk, so
look for sinful cuts coming from the gulag or the colonies, whatever it might be.
I doubt they'll let us have podcasting equipment, so we'll just talk very loudly for the rest of our bunkmates, and we'll do a podcast episode live.
There you go.
Oh,
and I'm just realizing we have like an S theme going on. So we did Slacks, Stir of Echoes, and now we're doing the Substance.
Yep.
A lot of S's.
I like it.
All right, Nicole, if you'll permit me, this week your article for Top 10 Aquatic Horror is going to be at macabredaily.com. I think you're going to love how it looks. I already know you love the article because you freaking wrote it. So I highly encourage everybody to go to macabredaily.com, check out this comprehensive, funny, thoughtful, fantastic article that Nicole put together for us, and I really do thank you because it's fantastic. I'm not going to give one movie away, not a one. Everyone's going to have to go and check out the article, which will be in the show notes as well. Yes. Look at me.
Oh, you know what else? I almost forgot about this. I have an essay coming out on Horror Tree this coming week.
Wow!
It's kind of academic horror.
I love every word
That's
that
fun.
you said there. Okay. Send me the link.
I will. I don't have it yet, but I will.
All right, cool. And we'll promote that all over our social media. And then what I can do is I can go back and I can add that kind of stuff to our past episodes. So.
And you can say that I emailed you from Iceland.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fresh from Iceland.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah. That's almost like we went there ourselves. It's almost as good. Okay.
I'll send a little bit of cold your way.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, we might have our own.
It's supposed to be 25 degrees there this week.
Okay.
Hat, gloves, scarf, all of it.
I was just about to say the same thing. So Shannon and I turned into our moms. Please bring a hat.
What you going out with a bare head? Put on your hat.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do you want to hold? All right, Shannon, take us out of here. This was fantastic. Nicole, thank you again.
Thank you for having me as always.
Always a blast. Can't wait for the next one.
Third chair's the best.
Yeah. All right, sinners, and that's a cut.
Bye, everybody.
Hey there. You just finished the latest episode of Blood Guts and Papercuts. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. We honestly do this for you, and we appreciate your time. I hope we entertained you. If we did, can we ask a huge favor? Would you be kind enough to go to iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, rate and review us? It's how we get our tiny little horror name out there and get our silly face in front of everyone and our silly little voices in everyone's ears. But we do it from a place of love, and we would really appreciate your support in doing this. You can follow us also on YouTube at Blood Guts and Papercuts Podcast, and on Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky, and you can find us there at SeanOC32. That's at SeanOC32. We really appreciate your time. Like I said, I hope you were entertained. Can't wait to see you back here in a day or two. Take care.